In today's Star Wars Outlaws guide, I'm going to be going over and uncovering 10 hidden game mechanics that you may not be aware of but can greatly enhance your gaming experience in Star Wars Outlaws. I've put many hours into this game, and a lot of these tips and tricks on this list I didn't even know about until a couple of days ago. Many Star Wars Outlaws players will miss out on crucial game mechanics that can make the gameplay smoother and more enjoyable. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of exploring the Outer Rim, taking down enemies, and completing quests, but overlooking these mechanics can hold you back from reaching your full potential. So if you guys are enjoying Star Wars Outlaws and you guys need some more guides and want to be kept up to date on everything Star Wars Outlaws, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if there's anything in this list that you didn't know about, go ahead and drop a like. And if there's another game mechanic I didn't go over in this video, leave a comment down below so we can spread that knowledge around the Star Wars Outlaws community. Now, the first tip and hidden mechanic I want to go over has to do with your speeder. There are going to be certain missions and certain side quests and contracts that won't allow you to fast travel, so therefore you're going to be spending a lot of time on your speeder. So the better you get to know your speeder, the better you know how to handle your speeder, the more well off you're going to be. Now, your speeder can go very fast, which is going to make it very hard to take those sharp turns. Holding down the gas and just holding left or right on the thumbstick is going to make for a very wide turn. But what the game doesn't tell you is if you actually hold down the brake button, Kay will actually put down her foot and will essentially drift the speeder, which will make for a very much tighter turn radius, which in the end is going to help you escape from enemies and get around corners faster. So definitely take advantage of this drifting mechanic with your speeder. Now, the second tip I have for you guys actually has to do with your partner in crime, Nyx. In the beginning of the game, it goes over the mechanic where on console it tells you to hold down the left bumper and you'll get this little line to show you exactly where it's going to send Nyx, or you got to line it up with perhaps a control panel on a wall and you'll get the prompt to open it, or maybe you found some loot and you got to hold your crosshair over the loot and you'll get the prompt to fetch it, or even when you're in combat or doing stealth, you'll have to line up your crosshair on an enemy and you can either choose to attack or distract, and so on and so forth. But when you're out there and things are getting hectic, you're in the middle of a firefight, holding down the left bumper and trying to line up your crosshair on an enemy or perhaps on an object like a weapon that you want Nyx to pick up can be pretty confusing and taxing. But what the game doesn't tell you is that there is actually a quick action that you can do. Instead of actually holding down the left bumper, you can just look in the direction of a control panel or an enemy, and then you can see a little Nyx icon appear above it, and then all you got to do is tap the left bumper and Nyx will go over there and open up a door or attack an enemy or fetch an object. I didn't know about this in the beginning of my playthrough. I'd be getting into firefights with the Imperials and I'd be running around trying to hold down left trigger and then try to aim at an enemy, and it would just take a lot longer than it needed to be when all I had to do was look in their direction and tap the left bumper. So definitely take advantage of this quick Nyx action. The next game mechanic I have for you guys has to do with the fast travel. If you're anything like me in the beginning of your gameplay, whenever you wanted to go to a different planet, you would always go to the Trailblazer, head to the cockpit, sit down, take off, launch into orbit, and then you would pick what destination you wanted to go to, and then you would travel through hyperspace just to get there. But you don't actually have to do any of that. All you have to do is open up your map, and you can see this little icon in the bottom right of your screen. You can just hold down on the right thumbstick, and it will keep backing you out, and you can back out all the way into orbit, and then just pick whatever planet you want to go to, and you will automatically fast travel there and completely skip all those steps in between of going to your Trailblazer and launching off into orbit. Trust me guys, it's going to save you a lot of time. Now, the next mechanic I want to go over technically isn't really a mechanic in the game, it's more of an exploit, but until Ubisoft patches it, we might as well use it and abuse it. And this has to do with your blaster, and I'm talking about the stun mechanic on your blaster. This is one of the best abilities you have in the game. You can pretty much take out any one of the lower level enemies in the game instantly. The only bad thing about this is that there is a super long cooldown on this stun mechanic, but there's actually a way around this. Once you shoot your little stun bolt, if you actually go into your menu, go into your loadout and your blaster, and you just change the skin on your blaster, it will instantly reset the cooldown and you can just fire the stun shot off again. So instead of having to wait for that super long cooldown, you can essentially just keep taking out enemies with this. As long as you remain hidden and you're not wanted, you can just keep going into your menu over and over again to reset the cooldown on that stun. So definitely take advantage of it while you can. Now the next tip I have for you guys has to do with getting extra loot. After you guys are out in the world scavenging, completing contracts and missions, you can actually come back to the Trailblazer and Nyx will have collected loot and he'll drop it off right here for you to pick up. So do not forget to come over here and interact with this because you can get that free, crispy extra loot. And the next tip I have for you guys has to do with contracts. Contracts are a big part of this game, and it's how you're actually going to increase your reputation with the different crime syndicates. Now, in order to get contracts, the game tells you that you have to go deal with these contract brokers that are all around the world on different planets. But it takes a lot of time going to every single one of these contract brokers just to pick up a contract. So you can actually go to your ship and head to this table right here, and you can actually see all the different contract brokers you've already interacted with, and it gives you a list and shows you what contracts they have and who the contract is for. And you can actually manage the contracts here, so if you want to end a contract so you can pick up another one, you can do that here. And you can also see contract brokers from different planets, so you don't have to actually travel to a different planet just to pick up that contract. Now, the next game mechanic I have for you is the Transmog system. There's a lot of gear and armor that you're going to get, and pretty much every piece of armor that you get is going to have different perks, whether it be giving you more grenades or boosting your adrenaline while taking blaster fire. So depending on what you're doing, it's really important that you have the right gear on. But it really can take you out of the immersiveness if you guys are on Tatooine and you have K-Vest dressed up in a winter jacket. Well, you can actually go to your loadout screen, and as you can see right here, there is a button to change the appearance. So if you really like the perks that you get from wearing the Bunta Brawler set, but you want to make it look like the Crimson Dawn set, you can actually do that by just changing the appearance, and you can keep all those perks that you get from the Bunta Brawler set. So definitely take advantage of that Transmog system. Now the next tip I have for you guys is actually placing markers on your map. If you open up your map and check this out right here, there's actually a bunch of different symbols that you can place on the map. The reason that this is so important is because the way this game works is that you're going to come across a lot of locations that you literally will not be able to get to until you upgrade your blaster or upgrade your speeder. So you're going to be missing out on a lot of loot if you forget where these places are. So it really comes in handy just placing a marker on the map, so that way you know you can come back to it. And as soon as you have that upgrade and you go and get that loot, you can just take that marker off the map because you don't need it anymore. Now the next mechanic I have for you guys has to do with upgrading your blaster. If you guys want to dominate in combat in Star Wars Outlaws, you're going to need to upgrade your blaster as fast as possible. And that means you guys need to get these rare parts to upgrade. But there are a lot of parts and you might not know where to get them. But if you actually go over to your workbench, it will literally tell you exactly where you can find those types of parts. Just head on over to the menu, click on this button right here, and it will literally tell you that this part can be found in an Imperial compound vault. So this way you aren't just aimlessly going around looting everything you can, wasting time. You can go directly to the source to get the part that you need to upgrade your blaster. And the last game mechanic on our list has to do with the blaster cooldown. It's a very simple mechanic. As soon as your blaster starts to overheat, you'll get this prompt on screen that tells you to press the right bumper inside of this little window to get that blaster cooldown so you can continue on firing. But what the game doesn't tell you is that you don't actually have to take your finger off the right trigger to hit the right bumper. You can actually just hit the right trigger inside that little window and you will hit that cooldown. Now for me, this was much easier and made me very more accurate in hitting that cooldown window every single time. Because sometimes taking your finger off the trigger to hit the right bumper, your finger might slip and you might miss that cooldown opportunity. So every time I need to do my blaster cooldown, I just hit the right trigger again instead of taking my finger off the trigger. And that is going to do it for my list of 10 hidden game mechanics that Star Wars Outlaws doesn't tell you. If you guys learned anything from this video, leaving a like really helps my channel out. And if you did learn anything or I missed anything, let me know about that down in the comments and I'll catch you guys in the next Star Wars Outlaws video.